I was sitting in my room that morning, feeling a mix of nervousness and excitement that I hadn't felt in a long time. Today was a big day, one that I had been quietly preparing for over the past few weeks. I wasn't nervous because I had doubts. I was nervous because this meant something. It meant a lot. For the first time, I was ready to show something I had created from my heart, something deeply personal and full of meaning. And even though I had been over every second of it, edited every frame, listened to every word more times than I could count, I still found myself holding my breath. I had just finished the final edit on a video I had poured my soul into. It wasn't just a video. It was a piece of my life, a collection of memories, thoughts, and emotions that I had carried silently inside me for so long. This project wasn't about showing off my skills or trying to impress anyone. It was about finally giving shape to a feeling I could never quite put into words. It was about her. About us. About the quiet way love can live in your life. Not loudly or dramatically, but patiently and consistently. Always there. Always unseen. I picked up my phone and sent the message I had been waiting to send for days. "Hey, I just uploaded the video. You have to check it out." That was it. Simple. I didn't say much more because I wanted the video to speak for itself. I could imagine her reading that message, curiosity flickering across her face, maybe even smiling, wondering what this was all about. She'd always supported me, even in my quiet phases, even when I didn't share much. And that's exactly why I made the video in the first place. I wanted her to see what she meant to me. A few minutes later, my phone buzzed. "I can't wait. What's it about?" she asked. I hesitated before replying. I wanted to say everything right there and then. I wanted to explain the story, the moments I had captured, the emotions behind it, but I didn't. Instead, I replied, "You'll see, just watch it." Then I hit the send button for the video link and sat back. My heart was racing. I decided to watch it one more time before she did. I turned on the screen and let it play. The familiar scenes began to roll, scenes I had chosen so carefully, not because they were dramatic or flashy, but because they were real, genuine, us. There were clips from random moments, laughing at a joke, walking down a street we used to always go to, trying to cook something and completely messing it up, late-night conversations, quiet smiles. It was all there. Pieces of her. Pieces of me. And in all of it, the one thing I kept seeing was how much she had been a part of my life, even when no one else saw it. I knew what part was coming next. The part that made me most nervous. The part where I said her name. I hadn't done that in any of my videos before. It was always implied, always around the edges. But this time, I wanted it to be clear. This time, I wanted her to hear it, see it, feel it. I wanted her to know that this wasn't just a collection of memories. It was a love letter, a quiet tribute to everything she had done, without ever asking for recognition. And then it came. The words I had written and rewritten so many times finally echoed back at me from the screen. "This journey is beautiful because you are a part of it." I watched the moment her name was spoken in the voiceover, and even though I had heard it a dozen times, it still made me emotional. It felt like I was finally saying something I should have said long ago. A few minutes later, my phone buzzed again. I'm watching it now. I could almost hear the excitement in her message, and I felt my own heart race again. I didn't know what she would feel. Would she cry? Would she smile? Would she remember those moments the same way I did? I sat there, waiting, playing scenes from the video over and over in my head. The first trip we ever took together, the silly dance we made up, the quiet mornings when everything felt safe and simple, the moments when I looked at her and thought, how did I get this lucky? Then the reply came, wow, this is amazing. I love how you included our memories. My heart swelled. I couldn't stop smiling. Did you hear what I said about you? I typed, barely able to contain my anticipation. I wanted her to know I had meant every word, that every frame, every second was chosen with love. I did. You made me cry, she replied. And that was it. The moment everything felt worth it. The hours of editing, the fear of being vulnerable, the decision to finally speak her name out loud. It had reached her, and it had touched her the way I had hoped it would. "I wanted you to know how important you are to me," I replied. "I couldn't have made this without you." We kept texting back and forth for the next little while, talking about the video, sharing our favorite parts. She mentioned things I had forgotten, tiny moments that had meant a lot to her. And it reminded me that love isn't always in the big declarations. Sometimes, it's in the way you remember the small things, the everyday pieces of life that, when put together, tell a story of something beautiful. "You have no idea how much this means to me," she said at one point, and I did, because it meant just as much to me. That night, we talked more than we had in weeks, not because we hadn't been close, but because the video opened something up. It allowed us to look back, and at the same time, look forward. We started dreaming up more ideas, imagining what we could create next. "Let's make more videos together," I said, feeling the energy of a new beginning. She loved the idea instantly. We talked about doing vlogs, sharing everyday life, capturing trips and little adventures. It wasn't about being perfect. It was about being real. We planned our first outing, a small day trip to some of our favorite spots. We filmed at the park where we used to sit and talk for hours, the little ice cream shop that always made, her smile, the street corner where we had our first serious conversation. Each place carried a memory, and I tried to film it all with care. Not to show off, but to honor it. She was natural on camera, authentic, sweet, sometimes shy, but always her, and that's what I loved the most. We laughed through the whole day, messed up our lines, had to retake things because we kept making each other giggle. But it was perfect, because it was us. Later that night, we sat on the couch reviewing the footage. She leaned against me, smiling, as we watched ourselves on screen. "I love this," she said softly. "It feels like we're telling our story in a way no one else ever has." I nodded, because that's exactly what we were doing, and I knew this was just the beginning. We made plans for the next video, a cooking challenge. We were both terrible at following recipes, but that was part of the fun. We filmed the whole thing from start to finish, shopping for ingredients, struggling to read measurements, getting flour everywhere. It was messy and chaotic and filled with laughter. And when we finally tasted what we made, it was honestly not that bad, but even if it had been, it wouldn't have mattered. Because the best part wasn't the food, it was the experience. With each video, we grew closer, not just as a couple, but as partners in something meaningful. Creating content together became a way of reflecting on our lives. Every moment we captured, every memory we shared, it all became part of a bigger picture. A way of saying, we were here, this happened, and it mattered. There was something magical about watching our love story unfold on screen, not as a scripted fairy tale, but as something beautifully imperfect. We didn't need filters or fancy effects. We just needed each other, and the courage to let the world see it. One day she said something that stuck with me. "You know, I used to feel like I was invisible in your world," she admitted. "Like I was part of your life, but no one ever really saw me there." That hit me hard, because it was true. For a long time, I had kept her in the background, not out of shame, but out of fear. Fear of judgment, fear of what people would think, fear of letting my private world become public. But that changed with the video. That changed when I said her name, when I let her take up space in my story. And now I couldn't imagine telling it any other way. She's always been here, just unseen. That line echoed in my mind as I looked back at everything we had created. All the laughter, the awkward takes, the deep conversations we captured late at night. She had always been a part of it, even before anyone else noticed. Now I wanted the world to see her the way I did, not just in passing, but fully, clearly, completely. Not because she needed validation, but because she deserved recognition for her love, her support, her quiet presence that had held me up when I didn't even know I needed it. We kept filming, kept creating, cooking videos, daily vlogs, travel diaries. But more than that, we kept growing. Every project taught us more about each other. Every shared experience deepened our bond. It wasn't about likes or views. It was about capturing something real. Looking back now, I'm grateful I took that first step, that I decided to open up and let the world see what she meant to me. Because sometimes love is quiet. Sometimes it's hidden in the little things, but it doesn't mean it's any less powerful.